stay stateside and got to get to the next routing date. Like,
oh, sorry, your audio just kicked out there for a second. What was the end of that? Sorry.
oh, so he had to stay stateside.
Oh,
and then wait like the 3 days until they were coming back from Canada to be able to meet back up with the tour. It was like something stupid. Like I don't remember. I can't remember what it was, but like something that was like a misdemeanor in the States. That's like no big deal, but they were like,
yeah, you badmouth Wayne Gretzky. They ain't fucking let you in.
Yeah, you gotta be really nice to come into Canada.
You don't like maple syrup? What?
Yeah, we drink it all day. It's like, so you gotta be like a super nice guy to come across the border, I guess. Like, what is the national animal of Canada? It's like,
how many tunis does it take, eh?
Yeah.
What is the national? Is it was it like a moose?
No, it's actually, a cobra chicken.
Oh no!
Oh shit, dude.
No.
Yeah, that's fucking.
No, actually,
dangerous.
I think it's the beaver.
Hold on, you don't know?
It's on our fucking money,
dude. There's different animals on all the money.
I think every piece of money has
Yeah.
It all looks like Monopoly, but
look it up. Look it up, dummy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's either the moose or the beaver.
Does that mean you got to take down the flag now because you don't know the
No. See, I would say pike because that's a giant ass pike right there from Northern
That's
Ontario.
Not a national bird, you fucking.
No. We didn't say bird. We said animal. What the animal was, and I'm pretty sure I'll put money on it. I bet you.
You want national bird or you want national animal?
I don't think we have one. I think there's a multitude of them. Anyway,
I bet you it's the cobra chicken. I fucking bet you.
No, I'll bet you a coffee and a donut, you prick.
You owe me one still.
Yeah.
Fuck, I don't want to tell what it is.
What is it? It's a beaver. Oh yeah. All day.
Ooh. Also, what's a cobra chicken?
Okay, so a cobra chicken is another name for a Canadian goose.
Oh man, fuck those dudes.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, but a cobra chicken is like the most fitting thing ever.
It sounds weird as fuck.
Yeah.
No, they're dicks.
And they know that they're like protected. But I got a TikTok video just waiting.
Oh yeah. We got something lined up.
Cross one, it's gonna be hilarious. So it's actually. What's that, guys?
We have a river that goes right through right like the neighborhood I live in town, and there's a whole bunch of them all over the place, and they're just assholes.
They're fucking assholes. 100%.
No. They're dicks. Like yeah. There's no getting around it. They're very so like. I probably when they're down. I don't know. Would they be nesting? Would you guys like? Are they to come up here to nest? I don't know. Either way, when they're nesting,
you don't know your national animal. I don't think we're gonna get
because you don't get near the damn thing.
No, I knew my national animal. He didn't know the national animal.
You were positive. You were guessing.
Yeah.
Listen, I was
acting like I was captain. And by the way, it's also a Canadian horse.
Right. Yeah.
So
I was 95%.
You and Mr. Ed can suck it.
Anyway, why don't you go moose the hell? Yeah, exactly.
Of course.
Anyway, back on track. Oh my God, what the fuck are we talking about here? Again, thanks for hanging out. You guys, your band is awesome. So Ernie and I have been listening to your music for like the last couple of weeks, just headbanging. I'm like, dude, these guys are coming on, man. This is gonna be awesome. So, you guys have been playing since like 2020 together?
Like 2017.
Yeah,
like that.
Barbie started the band in 2016, and then I joined in 19.
Yeah,
I think.
I
think that's right.
Yeah, no, you joined in like 2018 at the end of the year, and then we.
Oh, that's right.
That's
right.
Josh has been playing ever since. So
yeah,
Brad. So did you guys obviously like where are you guys from, by the way? You guys are an hour difference from us, but I have no idea where you guys are at.
Wichita, Kansas.
Wichita, Kansas. Okay, rad. I can tell by your accents. It's something
middle of the fucking U.S.
Midwestern, eh?
Yeah. Like people always like we have homies in Australia and they're always like, we love your accents. I'm like, what accent? I can't tell shit. Like,
yeah.
But Canada. So what did you guys grow up listening to? What kind of music did you guys grow up listening to?
I grew up in the church and it was a lot of like Christian radio.
Yep.
I
know that vibe. We know that vibe. We got it.
Yeah, dude, Amy Grant forever.
No,
Carmen.
Yeah.
Or DC Talk.
DC Talk, yeah.
DC Talk, dude.
Fucks, man.
So
yeah, slaps, bro.
It bumps.
I had to go to lounge like Mama Laid Jelly because it took me a while to catch what it said.
I'm a Jesus freak, my guy.
It's tough. I had a youth pastor, him and his wife, they were like, hey, we know that, you just listen to Christian radio and stuff, but check out this band. And they handed me an As I Lay Dying CD.
What?
I was probably like 11 or 12, and I was playing bass and learning that in like the youth group band.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's all like 10 to 15 year olds. And they handed me that CD. They're just like, yeah, just go check it out if you want, And I listened to it, and I had no idea what to think. Because I was so used to just that Christian radio. And then Shadows Are Security by As I Lay Dying, and I'm like, what?
Wow.
This is wild.
He's young.
Your pastor sounds pretty rad.
Oh, yeah. Super rad dude. That, like, nicest guy ever. And they just wanted to, like, help out people as far as, like, oh, if you want to learn how to play or if you want to be introduced to something, like, we just want to be there and do all that stuff with you. So it was really cool, and that kind of started that for me and deep dove into that.
That's a great story.
I grew up about an hour and a half north of here in a small town that maybe had 25,000 people in it or so. And then any big city was like 2-hour drive, either any direction. So as a kid, it's hard to. So I grew up in my church too, but like a small like Christian bookstore. But I also grew up about 45 minutes from where like Origin is from, and Coalesce about an hour away. And so I'd get like sneak away with friends and would get taken to shows. So I would see, like, one of my first shows was like seeing Coalesce play. But then like the first couple CDs I could get a hold of was like a Tooth and Nail compilation. Like they had like a discography from forever ago. It had like 18 CDs with it. And then I ended up with like it's like Project 86 and old Zayo records was like, that's all I could get a hold of. And I live in a small town, so music was a lot harder to come by. So you would like look up a record label and then try to find anything you could on that, because you couldn't find music. You just go to their website. And so it was really hard to like get things. And then because I didn't grow up directly in a scene, I didn't know what was cool.
Right.
I was not cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so it wasn't like I was a hardcore kid or I was into like metal, or because back then that was like the split. So I remember being into like weird things. Like I thought Taproot was cool because it was kind of heavy, but it's like you only get exposed to so much. Like,
yeah.
And so you're just like, if it's angry, cool, I can relate to it. In hindsight, Taproot's lame, but like, you get some of the mainstream stuff that you mix in with, like what is more underground.
Yeah.
And so I think it like broadened my ability to like appreciate more music too.
Did you guys have like an HMV or anything like that? Like, I know you said you lived in a small town, but like a couple hours away, were you able to get to something like that, or how were they?
I don't think they had HMVs. That's Canada.
Is that
I think.
Canada?
It's
like a record store.
Yeah.
So I didn't have anything like that close to me at all.
Oh wow, that makes things fun.
I actually, so I think the biggest thing that taught. Do you guys remember Cornerstone Festival?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So I did have a family that was like supportive. And so my dad was like, we'll go to this festival. And I was because the small town I lived in, I'd have to figure out how to get to shows. And there was this old solid state band years ago that I like ran into 2 or 3 times, and then convinced my youth group to like let me put on a show that they paid for. And like I brought this band as like a one-off, and we just like, I ended up starting to make friends with people just because music spoke to me, and I was like the kid that wouldn't go away. But then I got a lot of like really cool mentorship because I wouldn't go away. And so, so like Cornerstone was really cool because you get to see all of these bands that are converging on this one spot, and just, you never know what you're going to run into. And so then it really opened it up. And because I was like real personable, you'd make a lot of friends.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So that's what opened up the doors for me, was like things like Cornerstone and.
Man, that's awesome. Ernie's pretty new to like the like hardcore and like metal. Ernie was really into hip hop. I wasn't on my microphone. Sorry, that's why I wasn't.
Okay.
I kind of was like way more into punk. That was initially was like my whole thing, and then got into hardcore. Kind of got forced into hardcore. backdoor, like they're talking about Alexis on Fire. I worked in like this like pretty haggard old warehouse where I had to build barbecues 8 hours a day. So I would build barbecues, and I wasn't the lead guy. So the lead guy was like, I listen to what I want. I'm like the lead guy, and I'm like, okay, man. And then he would just blare like, just like the most intense music I've never heard in my life. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
But then after after working like a long hot ass summer sitting in this like small room building barbecues, just blaring, listening to hardcore music, I started liking it, and that's how I got into it. And was like,
yeah,
okay, like Protest the Hero, Chariot, Lexus on Fire, Under Oath, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, so just hearing all that, that's how I kind of got into the scene. And that was like back, I don't even know. Can't even remember. Maybe like 2004. Yeah, maybe 2003, 2004 is when I started getting into like hardcore and like that whole thing. But
And going to shows.
yeah.
I'm such a baby compared to the other guys. Like I just turned 25 like a week ago. And so,
happy birthday, man.
Oh, thank you. But yeah, with that As I Lay Dying record, I remember like I didn't know how I felt about it. And then I found out that CDs had booklets. So I never had CDs before or anything like that. I found out that they had booklets. And so I opened it up and I was like, oh, they typed out something or whatever. And it was the thank yous and the liner notes and all that stuff. So then I was like, who is Poison the Well? Who's Under Oath? Who's Zayo? Who's the chick? You know what I mean? So like, I remember every day after school getting on your family computer and getting on YouTube and searching like Poison the Well, and just seeing what it was like. And that's how I just found out about bands and just kept buying CDs. And I'm like, oh, this booklet looks cool with the art or whatever. And then found Under Oath and found the Cherry, all that stuff. And that's, Alexis on Fire, like you were saying, is great.
That's what I kind of like about Spotify right now, is because they've kind of found a way to do that and kind of make it more broader and to go, okay, well, you like this band, why don't you check out these ones? It's nice for me because I do a lot of DJing weddings and things like that, and if I'm trying to find like cocktail hour music, or if I'm trying to find like music that fits into what they want for their dinner hour, like it's nice because I can kind of focus on what they said, and then it helps me branch off to go, hey, I've never heard of these guys, let's sample from these guys a little bit. And I like it because it's a great platform to just find new music and stuff that you wouldn't normally listen to.
Yeah.
I think I see a lot of people that give a little bit of hate to things like Spotify, like as musicians. And honestly, like, I think it's a good thing. I think it's good for music. Like, people are like, oh, I don't pay enough. And it's like, number one, a bunch of heavy bands didn't get into it to make a bunch of money anyway,
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not having to print CDs. I'm not having to go and invest all this money in it. Like, it gives people much easier access to you. I mean, I think it's like, it just makes us have to be creative in other ways to generate income. And
It's crazy to think now, though, that almost like a CD is like a nostalgia type thing, though, right? Like that's kind of, in my 20s, I'm going out to HMV to buy a CD, and now it's like,
and you have like those
you're still
books,
using CDs.
You have those giant books you just drive around with all the CDs in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, I can't remember who it was, but some band was on tour and they left their like stack of their like the big flip book of CDs.
Oh.
And I can't remember who it was. Like nobody knew whose it was or something. It might have not even been from the band, but I remember trying to get it back to him and nobody ever claimed anything or asked about it. And so, but I remember like I got into like some of the like chaos world. So like bands like Daughters and Curl Up and Die and Ed Gein and stuff like that, which like I'm the old guy in the band, so then it was like in other previous bands like getting to like tour, we got to do tours with like Ed Gein and stuff, and so I got to experience some of that world too, and so I'm my broad scope allowed me to enjoy a lot, and I got exposed to that. So like that CD case was like my life for probably like 2 years.
Whenever it's always like when you stumble upon something cool like that, or it's like a guy that has like a rad jacket and then he leaves it behind. You're like, that's his jacket. It's like when you find something that's like for you, it's like awesome and beautiful, and then you can able to like kind of keep it as your own. That's like a cool find. That's a really cool
You
find.
stole somebody's jacket?
Yeah, it's a long story. I'll tell you about it later. So here's an interesting question for you guys. I've always wanted to ask, like, you guys have a perspective that kind of I've always been thinking about. So as guys who kind of grew up in the church and then getting into hardcore music, what is this thinking on it's okay to be angry And like we all know, we all have been sitting here, the feeling you get when you're with bros in the pit and the music is just killing it, and you're just like, it's just like you get this euphoria, the serotonin's through the roof, you're just feeling happy and excited. But like if someone from like the church was watching everyone in this music and like seeing how angry it is, it would be like you thinking the exact opposite. So what is your guys thinking on this from like the perspective of growing up in the church and then you got into the music being like, it's okay to be angry?
I actually think it's as interesting because like I'm not a church goer now.
No. I just mean like from that perspective.
Yeah. But no. So, but I recently have like been like I've been trying to like, I think everybody should always be trying to better themselves. And so I've been books and reading, like just working on things. But I read an interesting book like a couple weeks ago that I read once before and when I was younger, and as an adult now it just was way better. But like the church is like kind of kooky sometimes.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so, like, oh my God, I can't believe you guys would act like this. Like, you're supposed to be like well kept or whatever. But then it's like if you actually like dive in, like anger, there's nothing wrong with anger. It's an emotion that we're given that like, there's spots all over like Bible where they're like anger is like it is used and it's like righteous indignation and and so like the church though is like, what is this? Like you can't do this,
Right.
But then of course like modern church seems to miss the mark a lot. So
Oh yeah, for sure.
but
I think the craziest thing was, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I thought the craziest thing was when I at first heard the band Cancer Bats from Jeremy, I had thought that Liam was this like scary guy because you're hearing him scream. And then it took me to the show, and I still think it's the Mod Club. But anyway, it was a club in Toronto that we went to go see it. And like the guy's like dancing to like Jay-Z on the stage. I'm like, that's him? You're like, yeah, he's a really cool guy. I'm like,
He is a really cool guy.
you just hear the people screaming, and you're like, oh man, they just worship Satan and eat bats.
I remember getting the Zayo self-titled record as a kid at like the local Christian bookstore, and like I don't know that I ever think that like, I mean, maybe at some point in time Zayo was like a quote unquote like a Christian band, but at least like that time there was a lot of like, whether they were or not's debatable.
Yeah.
But I remember like playing stuff, and my mom was like, what the hell is this? Like, and then I was like, Charles, I got out the Christian bookstore,
Yeah.
kind of like spinning
Show her the receipt.
this thing that is like okay.
I did
But
that
then
same
my
shit.
dad is like, well, let's read the lyrics, and he's like,
Oh yeah.
what is it? And so I remember having to like sneak into other spots in my house, like where'd they like, because parents are dumb and they don't ever get rid of it. They're just like, we're gonna put it in our bag file.
Show
Like,
him.
so, but yeah. So I definitely got that. I remember like this can't be good, and so
What about you, man? The other Josh, what's your perspective on that?
Man, that's so interesting. Like, so growing up in church and stuff, my parents were super religious, and I was only allowed to listen to like only Christian music.
Yeah.
Because I was so young, I never had like a CD player, record player, or anything like that. And I also didn't have a job, so I didn't have money to go buy my own music or anything like that. So everything I listened to is what they were listening to. And I remember my parents had gotten divorced, and it was split time. So when I went to my mom's house, it was about the same type of thing, radio station, all that stuff. When I went to my dad's house, he would play Zeppelin,
Yes,
and AC/DC, and all that stuff. And I remember one time he was like, "Hey, just don't tell your mom about that."
Why would he care? He's divorced to her.
And well, right, yeah, but I was just like, "Well, what? Like, what do you mean?" And I'm young, I don't know what he means. you know?
Yeah.
So then fast forward to the youth pastor giving me that CD and stuff, and I'm like, "Holy shit! Like, what is this?" And they're like, "Oh, it's a Christian band or whatever. Like, it's Christian metal." And I'm like, "What did you just say?" Like, metal in my head is like crazy demon and stuff and like whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not Christian radio. If it's not that, then it's got to be something secular. You know what I mean? And so hearing all that stuff and then listening to like even Led Zeppelin and all that cool stuff, I was like, oh man, it kind of feels a little weird to be listening to it because I feel like I shouldn't.
Yeah.
I also like kind of identify with a lot of this stuff, and I really like love a lot of this stuff. So then that's when I started to kind of dive in, and I'm like, oh, it's not really as bad as a lot of these people think that it is who are in the church. Like, listening to Poison the Well or whatever. And I'm like, man, they're singing about like real life stuff. It's not like I want to kill and do this crazy stuff. It's like, no, here's my emotions. I'm just going to play how I feel.
Yep.
And why is that wrong? That was like a question I had for a really long time where I'm like, why is this inherently bad in your eyes? Like, so
I think people just fear what they don't know.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
And so with that whole thing, I think that's what it was for me, where I was just mainly confused more than anything.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I think this is great. It's stylistically, it's not what you like, and that's fine. But like,
Yeah.
They're just being honest, and like, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of beauty, and there's a lot of poetic, like there's a lot of.
And that's what I want more than anything is just honesty.
Yep.
Especially when it comes to music or art or anything like that. Like, that's the thing that I seek out.
Cool. So you guys obviously grew up playing instruments then. So Josh on the right, Josh on the left. So you play drums and you play guitar, right, for the band?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so did you guys grow up like, so obviously, if you grew up in that kind of a small town, was that harder to kind of get like into playing instruments, or was it easier like at school, or like how did that all work out for you guys?
I was a like snotty kid in my youth group growing up. And I was like probably like 14, 15, and I was on like a church trip. And my parents had bought me one of those like, did you guys, I don't know if you have like, remember like JCPenney's used to do like the Christmas catalog and come out.
Yeah, we like Sears.
Yeah, we had Sears down here, but yes.
Okay. And so they had like, I don't even remember, I think it was like a brand called Harmony, and it was like these like garbage electric guitars that look like Fender Strats in them.
Oh, hell yeah.
And my parents bought me one of those.
Sick.
I could play like a Christmas song on one string, like I couldn't play. But of course, I'm like, I play guitar. Like,
Yeah.
I was at it was like a church trip, and like, they always like go to a fast food place with the whole group, and they're like, someone's talking to me, I'm like, yeah, look, I'll play guitar, like,
what's up?
of course, I'm cool.
We play
And, the guy that led worship, like led the church like worship team or whatever, was like, oh, you play guitar? Well, we need someone to play bass, and it's about the same. And of course, I'm like, but I'm not gonna like, you're too rooted in the story at this point. So you're like, all right. And I'm thinking like, I'm gonna tell him later I'm not very good, but I don't want to tell everybody at this table of 14-year-olds that I am full of shit. And so he was like, yeah, no sweat, I'll help you out. He's like, we'll start getting together and like for a couple hours on like Tuesday, and then church is on Wednesday, and then we'll get together before church and go over it, and I'll help you through. And it's just like letters on a sheet, right? Mm-hmm. And he would play piano and he would yell letters like over his shoulder while he was singing.
Like the chords?
Yeah, like the letter, like the chords.
Oh my God.
I knew what the letters were on the neck just because I knew that much. Like I knew where like a G note was or whatever. Yeah. And so even during worship, he would yell letters over his shoulder at me.
You got the devil in him, boy.
His name is George, and he's like one of those dudes that's like super uber talented, but he like wouldn't let me quit. He was just like, no, just keep coming back. And I'll like, so he'd yell letters at me. And then I got to where I didn't have to be yelled at the whole service, like while we were playing. And then I learned like guitar chords, because like if I'm playing, this is a G, I would see the fingering of the guitarist across the stage, but oh, that must be a G also. And so that's how I learned to play music, was just like standing on stage watching someone who knew what they were doing.
No shit.
So, wow. I'm not good at any of it, but like that's how I learned, like how I ended up in it. So,
man, I think story for me. I can't play guitar as well as you can, obviously, but I learned how to play guitar when I was a kid too. But the only reason I wanted to play electric acoustic guitar, because I'm like, I could get a girlfriend with this, man, like 100%. Like I was like the weird kid who like shaved his head and like I was into like nerdy stuff, but I also was into sports and stuff, and like totally had like a crush on the pastor's daughter, 100%. And I was like, you know what? I could probably like be pretty rad on the acoustic guitar, and like maybe I could like win her over. Maybe she think I'd be even cooler. Didn't work, but who cares?
Now he's gonna cry. I didn't get her.
Well, actually, my wife was impressed. My wife now was impressed with like my guitar playing at that point.
Was it online that she saw you playing?
Oh, I don't know.
Like, did you edit it?
No, I was in live.
You saw it live?
Yeah, it was live.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I was doing like coffee houses. You guys know what coffee house kind of jam is?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, I had like me and this my
Yeah, the
my
acoustics suck in there. That's why she was like,
Okay.
"Oh, it sounds really good."
Okay. I had like a tube. I had me and my roommate like did like coffee houses, and I'd like just play like easy guitar song. Anyway, she was pretty rich.
Should we say that you made a song?
Yeah, I did.
You did.
I've made a couple songs.
You did?
Yeah, I
They were very uplifting. They weren't sad whatsoever.
and I actually wrote the song that I proposed to my wife with on my acoustic guitar. It's
Yeah.
fucking rad. What are you talking about?
Did you do that one when you were in the My Chem romancing with the hair
Okay.
like over
All
like
right.
this?
We all went through that hair phase. Okay,
Yeah.
let's not. Don't
It
take
looked
me
like
down
this.
that
It
road.
looked like this.
Don't take me down that road.
It was down here.
Anyway, so the genesis of Revisionist, when did that all come about? Were you like getting out of school? Like, were you just like trying to figure stuff out? Like, what's going on with that?
So I ended up like touring full time when I was younger, 17, 18, and then into like later. And so I was on the road quite a bit and moved around for bands. I had like a family that was just like, go do it. Like, well, not my dad. My mom was like, what do you got to lose? And so moved around and toured quite a bit. Like, I mean, like 10, 11 months a year on the road, just like gone, like making $500 last all year, getting per diem. And just like, if I'm home, I'm homeless. So let's stay gone.
Mm-hmm.
And then moved around for a few different bands. And then I ended up having a terminally ill family. My mom ended up being sick later on in my life.
I'm sorry.
And so I moved home to help and take care of. But I was like, man, I kind of like, I'd sold all my gear. And one day I was like, you know what? I still want to do music. And started writing music. Had some friends help like program drums. This is before it was like easy like it is now. But started like helping out off and on. It was never intended to be a band. I was just, I didn't even care if we actually like, if I ever released music. It was like, well, we might record, but it might just be for me. And then it ended up like having a couple of people around. They're like, oh, I like this. Let's at least like jam together. Nobody even lived in the same state at the time. So it was like, okay, we're just having fun with my friends.
Mm-hmm.
And it eventually turned into a full band. And then we did a record with Jeff Sehun from Let Live. I don't know if you remember Let Live.
No. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yep.
Mm.
Wow.
So, and he was, they were like really good friends from a long time ago. So he was like, yeah, let's have some fun with it. And then Josh joined after that record was done, but wasn't out yet. And so he joined, and like I think he played his first real show at the band was the album release show for that record.
I was playing guitar at the time too. For
Yeah.
that release. Yeah.
But and then it was, finding people that like it started off as something that wasn't taken very seriously, and it was just for us. And then as it's become a little bit more of a serious band, it was like, we got to find people that are going to be able to like do it seriously. And so it's been, working through finding people that, want to do the thing that we do. And so.
Yeah.
Were you like tour bus touring or to what degree
It
was
was like a van tour.
Like conversion van with like a 6x10 trailer and no AC forever. So
just sweating to the oldies.
yeah, it's fun. Super fun.
Sweating to the oldies.
God, I
You
wish.
can open up a damn window. You think
It's like
there's like
a tour in a bus, and it was only because the other band had a bus, and they let us like, I think like you be on it with them or something. It was not ours. We were not cool. So,
what was the bus like? What was touring on a bus like?
actually, not as cool as you would think it would be.
Mm.
Because like when the bus is driving, it's like all the seats in it, you're sitting like sideways. In the lobby.
Yeah.
And so you're doing, this the whole time. And then if you get up to walk around or go to the bunks or go to the back, like there's like a bedroom in the back, all of the movements the bus makes, if you're standing up in the back, you're like flying all over the room. And so you can't really do anything while it's driving. And so you get like, I don't know, like I wouldn't complain if I had a bus, but I remember being like, maybe that's what I told myself because we didn't have one. That I'm like, oh, this sucks. Like,
I'm just thinking if I'm laying sideways, I'm wondering if I'm getting car sick.
I'm
'cause
getting car
not,
sick
right?
100%.
He's getting car sick just thinking about this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same. So I definitely would get car sick. So it was like this, like they weren't even like a massive band. It was just like a band of dudes that all had like big boy jobs, and they were like, we don't want to tour in a van anymore, so we're gonna buy a bus. And so they bought a bus, and it was like an old 70s like Greyhound that they bought that was all refurbished and stuff. So, but
Yeah, I get car sick way too easy.
You do.
So I toured on a bus. I was in a bagpipe band. We went out west. So like I don't know if you're familiar with Canada, but like so we're like just south of Toronto. We're like an hour away from Toronto. We're like near Toronto. We went out to Calgary, which is out west, and it's like 2-day drive kind of situation. And I was on a bus, and it sucked. It was the worst. Oh, just like a bunch of us in there, and it gets gross.
Mm-hmm.
Don't take a dump in the toilet, and like the one guy's just getting drunk the whole time, and like
Is he the driver?
yeah, it was the driver. We're gonna make it, boys. I was not the driver. No. But I get that vibe. It's just like, touring.
Where was the craziest place that you've toured to?
Yeah, it's a cool question.
Man, I don't know about like. I mean, it's like the where we had the craziest like story or something like that would be what I would think of more than like a place being crazy. Because we've had like a lot of like wild things that happened, and that's what I associate with like certain towns. But like as a whole, like everything starts to run together.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So.
But you guys, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, if you want to do a crazy story or something like that,
yeah, let's hear it.
It's a really good one. But so I've only done like one tour before, and it was before I joined Revisionist. I was singing in a band called Snakehound, and we did a super short little 5 or 6 day run or something like that. We ended up actually playing with Revisionist on that run. That's how I met Josh and stuff.
That's cool.
On the last day of that run, it was in Springfield, Missouri, and I wore contacts, and we played in Wichita, my hometown, the night before. So I stayed at my apartment that night, and I wore my glasses to the next show. I forgot my contacts, and I was like, oh shit, I can't play in my glasses. I'll break them, And so at the venue was really long, but it was like kind of just shallow as far as like the stage. And so we had like a bass player, guitar player, and a drummer, and then me singing. And I was like, well, the other dudes are like kind of big and take up all the space. I'll just play on the floor.
No.
I'll take my glasses off. And we were like a chaos, like Converge type of band, So I took my glasses off, put it on the someone's amp or something like that. And so I'm blind. Like if I don't have glasses or contacts, super blind. It's bad. And so we get through like 75% of the set, and I'm playing on the floor, and everything's going great. And then there's one song, I think it's the second to last song that we do, and right before like the ending breakdown, I see this one human just start running from the back of the room towards me. I was like, oh, tight. Someone's just going to like go crazy or something and like start a pit or something like that. Instead of like starting a pit, they just kept running, and they were running out the door like something was wrong. And I was like, oh no. And then the breakdown starts, and then as I go down to do this scream, it was a girl. She comes out and gets just close enough to where the mic cable wraps around her neck, and she just drops down. And I was like, oh, did I just kill someone? Like, because I'm just playing on the floor, and then she's like about to run out of this venue, and I'm like, oh no. Like it came out of the mic and everything. And then I was like, oh my God, are you okay? All this stuff happened. And she gets up, she just like looks around and just keeps running. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought I killed somebody. Like, holy shit.
Clothesline her for sure.
Oh, that was scary. So I have a affinity for Springfield now, Missouri, because
wild and crazy ladies.
Yeah.
I think like craziest places I would go towards like story, but also like beautiful, like Montana is like awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've heard Montana's just beautiful.
Do you remember, man, it's forever ago. You remember a band called Burden of a Day that was on Rise?
No.
Kind of they're kind of like Alexis on Fire world, right?
They're in that realm, I think. Yeah.
Is a band from Florida that we did a tour with, and the tour we dubbed it the More Bands Than Fans tour because it was like 40 shows of like just terrible shows. Every single one. And we had like 3 days cancel on us, and we were in Montana at like a head shop or record store or something. There was like a poster for a Battle of the Bands that was like going on that day, and there was like prize money and stuff. And so we showed up and like convinced them that we were just another band in the area and needed to play, and played and won a bunch of prize money because
What?
like when you're broke on tour, so
How much did you make?
we made like $500, which was also more than we had made on most of the shows.
Yeah.
The story that he's talking about. So you've toured, so like everybody does the exchanging of tour stories, right? Like, and it's always like who can,
Yeah, exactly.
And I think I have.
Are you gonna tell the freezer one?
Yeah, I think I have the best tour story of anyone in existence.
Okay.
Like ever, like the one that's always the like. It finishes the conversation.
Okay.
This really big statement if you've toured before, because that's what everybody talks about, right?
Yeah.
But there was a band from Arkansas called the Handshake Murders that we were on tour with, and we played a couple shows in Oklahoma. And one of the places that we stayed, there was a kid that let us stay with him, and it's him and one of his friends, and they were talking about their dad was like out of overseas, like doing something for work or something. But we had like the house, like we could all hang out, and we stayed there. And he had like new snowboards, new drum set, new cymbals, like he went on a shopping spree or something, like stuff everywhere. But some of it's still in boxes, still like unpacked, not even unpacked yet, and. So we're like rummaging around trying to figure out like I got some grilling him about his dad. The kid was 20, so he was like not a kid.
Yeah.
And then we left and we played in like Arkansas, and then we played in Kansas City. And while I was in Kansas City, I got a phone call that was like, "Hey, do you remember this kid you stayed with?" And it's like, of course. Like it was the girl that was with him, and she was like, "He just got arrested. Andrew killed his dad."
Huh?
Like. Whatever. Like I just like called the band that we were like that we had played. They did like the 2 Oklahoma dates or something, and one of them was like best friends with the guy. And apparently there was he was like, no, like go to the Oklahoma City like the news channel website, and there was footage of him getting arrested. There was like a account of like there was like a 5-hour standoff with the Oklahoma City SWAT team, and while we were at his house, his dad was in the freezer dead. Like
what?
There, yeah. And so he had like when the news came out later, he ended up like stabbing his dad with a kitchen knife and then dismembered him with an axe. And his dad was in the freezer. His name was
Just
Andrew
chilling.
Johnson.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would chop his dad up, put him in the freezer, and then was like, "Yeah, you can come stay at my house."
Jesus.
He had apparently done it like 3 or 4 days before we got there. And like what he was doing was he was like maxing all of the credit cards out, like buying stuff, and so we ended up like the Oklahoma City, like the FBI that was for the state of Oklahoma was like had a report that there was a party that night. And there wasn't a party; it was just like a bunch of dudes from a band staying there. But then they thought that we were trying to get stuff, like all the stuff he was purchasing, like out of the house. So we were having to like deal with like the FBI, and we're just like we're in a metal band and just hung out. And so, but yeah, his dad, he ended up getting tried later that year and found guilty. He's still in prison. But yeah, so
That's
we were
unreal.
at his house with his dead dad in the freezer.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good tour story.
I don't think that there's probably one that beats that.
I sensed a little apprehension when I was making my claim.
I just like I enjoy stories, and I have like a couple funny stories, but not like that.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I feel like that story always throws everybody off because you think that like, oh, tour story is gonna be funny, or it's gonna be like a little like a shit story or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? And then you pull that one and it's like, oh shit. That wins.
Yeah, that slaps for sure. Yeah,
Again, there was probably you couldn't even rename the tour.
It was funny. It was funny because like we had some guys in the band that were like it really affected them. Like they were like,
oh,
this is like we can't stay at people's houses anymore.
Yeah.
And 2 of us that were like, when has that ever happened before? First of all, like when The
I
odds,
get it though. I get it.
the
though.
odds of that happening again.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go check everybody's freezer?
Hang on a
when you get in
second.
there? I gotta check before
that's-
we go to bed.
Well, and then
That's when you're
then
right.
it
Now
was
you have
like
to check the freezer.
we had guys that were like, oh my god, like what would have happened? Because like when you're in a band, if there's a deep freeze or a fridge, you're gonna typically like raid the fridge, you know. And they're like, what would have happened if we would have found it? And it's like there's 5 of us and 1 of him. What do you think is gonna happen? Like,
Yeah, frozen steak, frozen burger, frozen Bob. What the fuck?
trying to get some popsicles.
You gotta go get some fucking pizza pockets.
Yeah,
You got some guy looking at you.
Fucking head cheese sitting right here.
You gotta get popsicles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, bobsicles. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Oh,
Dude, lost his head.
are you some sort of a butcher? What kind of animal is this? Oh, Jesus.
I don't
Yeah.
know. There's
Man.
like cultures in different countries that think you get power from it, like the Highlanders. So I mean, maybe you're onto something. Maybe I would be a good guitarist if I ate dad brains.
No, don't do it.
I wouldn't go there.
No.
There was a documentary about those.
Here we go.
Do you know those guys? The ones I'm talking about?
Pygmies?
No. They were cannibals, and they was this thing. It was only like a 5-minute interview. I don't know if you've seen it. You got to like look it up. It's like these cannibals.
It's in the jungle, though,
things.
right?
No, he's sitting on the beach, and he's sitting there and he's doing this interview with these cannibals, and the look on this guy's face, he's looking at the camera guy, and he's like, "You gotta get me the fuck out of here." And the camera guy's like, "Let's just see where this goes." And he's sitting there, and the guy's talking to it in a different language. If you haven't seen it, Google it. It's hilarious. And he's sitting there, and he's like, "So you're one of the only tribes that still eats humans and does not speak a word of English whatsoever." And he's like, and he's like, he says that he wants you to exchange the alcohol. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we gave him alcohol." So he's like, Can we go now? He's like, no. We got to see where this goes. So he's like pouring this alcohol in this like empty, hollowed out skull that looks really human, and he's drinking out of it.
No.
And then he's like, he pours some in, and then gives it to the guy that's doing the interview, the journalist. And the journalist is like, no, I'm good. And he's like, no, you need to drink out of this. And he starts drinking, and this is where it kind of turns. And he's drinking, and the guy's talking to him. He's like, he's making him drink the whole thing out of it. And then eventually he just stands up and starts taking a leak and throwing it at the guy. And then he runs because he starts like he goes to chew on his finger, and he freaking it was
What?
Yeah, it took a turn pretty quick. But it's like the only cannibals left, and it was.
What do you have to search?
Yeah,
I can look it up right now and then be able to tell you exactly what it is.
You look it up.
Did
like,
you guys ever see that movie, The Green Inferno? That's Eli Roth directed.
that sounds familiar.
It was in theaters like a super short amount of time. Like it was taken out, I think. But it's about that. Like this tribe in the jungle who are still cannibals, and these people get stranded there, whatever. The acting is super, super shitty, but it's like the most gruesome, like cannibal type thing I've ever. It's insane.
Do you like those documentaries? Sorry. Do you like those documentaries?
I have not seen a ton. That one wasn't a documentary, but I have
It's
not.
like a movie.
Yeah, it's called Reporter Almost Eaten by Cannibal.
No way.
Yeah.
That's the
It's
title.
on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Hell yeah.
My God.
I watched this one about the those tribes, those untouched tribes.
Yeah.
I really enjoy some of
You
them.
mean the island that's south of India?
And, and that guy that came in with the Bible, and he's like,
Yeah,
I bring
shot him with an
Jesus,
arrow.
and they're
He
like,
shot
we
him.
bring arrows, and he fucking did.
Oh yeah. He's dead.
It didn't go well. Or there was another one on Netflix, I think too. They were like untouched, and they came out, and there was like 4 guys, and they came out, and they're speaking a language that they don't know, and they're just walking around, just ransacking the thing, and they're like, no, and they're like going to spear them.
Man, that'd be just like a weirdest like
I feel like that's like you should just know better. Like when you're like, I'm gonna go to this other place, and I'm like,
Well, they weren't gonna do anything because these guys had like spears, and this town's just like, please don't take my shit. And they're like,
man, they got the sharp objects. Man,
because they didn't know how to interact.
your
right?
story, I'm still thinking about that. Like, imagine, like you guys slept overnight in that place, right?
It fucks you
Yeah.
up a little bit, doesn't
well,
it?
and then like so it was like Oklahoma City, and then the next night we played in just outside of Tulsa, and that kid drove So like the band that was from Oklahoma City, they played both shows, and that kid their van was broken down or something. So he pulled that band's trailer to the second show. So we had 2 days with him.
Oh.
So
Was he weird? Like now thinking back in hindsight, was he like this kid
Not
was
Not at all.
He was just like everything's normal.
Yeah, everything's
He's
and
chill.
we were, like, telling him because like he was saying his dad was out of the country in Nigeria until February, and this was like first week of December or something like that. Like the tour was like right after Thanksgiving into like between Christmas and Thanksgiving, and so he was like he's out of. But the kid was driving. There was like a Mercedes in the driveway, and the kid was driving like a Range Rover, and it was like, why?
wow.
Area, and it's like he's either like seems somewhat wealthy, and it was like he's either like a missionary or a drug dealer, like works for a church and has all this money, or he's like
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's in Iceland.
and
Yeah.
so I remember we
Antarctica.
like we absolutely were like asking questions and wanting to know what's going on, and you know it's like
Yeah. Hey, don't check the freezer.
yeah
Yeah.
Man.
we-
Oh, jeez.
I feel like I run into like really dumb things that happen to me though. Like when
All
we were in the
the
studio
time,
and
all
I
the
wrecked
time.
that $10,000 painting on accident.
God.
What?
All the fucking time. So so all right. We were in Albuquerque. Was it 2019? No, 2020. 2019? 21? I don't know.
Yeah, 2019.
I don't know what year it is. We were in Albuquerque recording the EP, Emptiness of Gravity, that's out now. And
with Aaron.
yeah, with Aaron. That was the first thing that we did with Aaron. And it's at the studio called Rio Grande Studios in Albuquerque. And it was on the last day, right? I think that this happened.
It's this like one of the most beautiful studios I've ever seen. You have to like know where it's at to be able to get into it, and it's like it's one of those things
Really
that like
cool.
is just it's beautiful, and it's like it's like a I don't know. Anyways, it's hard to explain it. But there's the last day of recording. They asked us to bring in a bunch of cases of water, and I brought in like 2 at a time, like a dumbass. And our singer had some, and he was coming in. And there's this painting that's on the wall that's probably like 5 by 6, like it's a big painting, and it's got like glazing on it. So like they clear coated the canvas after it's been painted to give it like a gloss finish.
Mhm.
And the owner of the studio, so we ended up becoming pretty close. His name is Ken Riley. He used to be like the head engineer at like RCA for like a decade or something, and has like all these like rad people he's worked with. And he's like the day or two before was telling us about this like one-off painting that was like a $10,000 painting by this like super well-known New Mexican artist, and he's like bragging on his painting that he loves. And we're walking in, and I'm setting these cases of water down, and the plastic tears, and it like tips over into the painting. And it's like a kind of a dark studio, and I'm like I freeze, and I'm like and like I'm waiting for it to crash or something, and nothing happens, and I'm like, whew, okay, I'm good. And I like it only touches like the bottom like corner of it, you know. So I set it down, and I look at it, and I genuinely think like, oh, we're good, like dodged a bullet. And our singer's like says some, I don't even remember what he said, but it was kind of to the effect of like oh man, like that could have been really bad, or like you're like whatever. And so then we go about like back in the studio, and they're listening to all of the songs at the end of recording. So we finished. They're going over everything, and I go back outside to do something. As I'm coming back in, the way that the light comes from, it's a glass front door, and the way the light shines in it, I can see the painting, and there's like dents in the front of it.
Oh no.
From the tops of the bottles. And you know, like a donut that's glazed, like if you push your thumb down, it bends, and it like
Yeah.
So I go over and look at it, and I'm like, oh shit, the glaze, like all the clear coat like cracked on the bottom. I was like, oh my God. And then I like stick my hand behind it, and I like
No, you didn't. No.
Trying to push it out.
you know,
Yeah, you're
and
getting
I'm
shoved in a freezer for sure.
And I
Oh,
no, and
dude.
I was like panicking, and I was like, and so then you have this like, so everybody, I'm not everybody, I guess, but a lot of people would like to think that they're moral, or like, you would do the right thing,
Tell him.
you know,
Fuck the $10,000 painting.
and like everybody will say that, and like obviously we all struggle with it at times. You know, it's like nobody's honest all the time, but like in a moment like that, you're like, what do I do? And then you start thinking like, can I like, do I have to say something? You know. And so I'm like walking around, and it's not something you would know if you looked directly at it, you couldn't tell, but if you looked at it from like the light shining across, it was like clear as day. So I'm like, they're all listening to the record. I'm like walking around, like looking for cameras, and there's no cameras. And I walk into the studio where they're recording, and there's a room behind the engineering area that has like the TV with like all the feeds and stuff. They're all listening to the record, and I'm like looking at the screen, and I was like, should I say something? And then I'm like, is there cameras? And there end up not being any cameras. And so then I'm wrestling with the morality of like, do you $10,000 is a lot of money to a musician too, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm in there, and then they're all like digging the record or the EP, and then Aaron's like, oh, except for this dude, he fucking hates it. Like, you know, and I can't even like focus on the music. I'm like, oh, like I don't know what to do. Like, so they all are like, okay, the record's done. That's awesome. Let's go get lunch. And they were gonna walk across the street and get lunch. And I hung back, and I was like, I'll meet you guys over there. And I hung back, and this guy, Ken, is, he's like old enough, like he's probably in his like late 50s or so. He's not quite like grandpa old, but like, and he's real firm, but he really connected with us. And I was like, I'm standing there, and he's like, aren't you gonna go get food? And I'm like, we gotta talk. Like,
Oh my God, dude.
because I was like, if I don't say something, I never will. And so I was just like, you know that painting up there, the one you really like? And I was like, so I was carrying water bottles in, you know, and he's like, I'm sure it's okay. And I was like,
Come on.
I'm sure it's not.
and I'm like, I messaged my wife, and I was like, I'm thinking I'm getting like divorced, or, you know, she's like, you can bring it home a painting that we're going to have to spend like, yeah, because if I'm buying it, I'm taking it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and so he comes out, and I'm like, no, like man, I'm just gonna like throw myself. And he comes out and he looks at it. He's like, hell, man, it ain't that bad. And I'm just like, dude, it's so. I keep expecting someone to take post pictures of that room, but be able to be like, see it because it's a kind of a weird layout. You can only take pictures from like 2 spots. So I keep expecting to see a picture of this like fucked up painting in it. But he was like, man, honestly, I think we can fix it. I just appreciate you saying something.
Oh, there you go.
And then he like let me completely off the hook. I was like, even when I went to lunch and I came back, and I was, you know, like, are you sure? Like, I mean, I'll give you something, you know. And he was like, don't worry about it. Like, I'm just like stoked you said something, but I thought I was buying a painting.
None of us knew that happened except for
Our singer.
Our singer. And I was like, what the fuck is Josh being weird this whole time?
He's not going dead.
I'm like, dude, this EP rips. Like, what's the fuck is your problem? Like,
oh, that's awesome. Remember when we messed up that canoe and then we didn't tell them? Remember we were on the canoe and then the seat broke?
Now.
Oh, yeah. We rented this cottage, and we were out in this canoe.
Not a $10,000 canoe.
No. We were in this canoe, and like all of a sudden, like the seat broke underneath me, and then we almost flipped it in because of the weight.
Oh my God!
So then we're out in the middle of this lake.
In the middle of the lake.
We're in the middle of this lake. We're almost flipping this canoe over, and the seat's broken underneath me, and we're just trying to get in so we don't mess it up. But then I just look at him and was like,
flipped it over, walked away.
I'm like, are we just say something here, or like, and mind you, like. I guess maybe I was like maybe over the weight limit or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Was it like you rented it?
No.
It was
part of the rental.
Like part of the rental of this cottage.
We did like
it's like an Airbnb.
Yeah, and I'm like 220, like on a good day. So I was like, I had been eating and drinking beers and stuff, and I'm just like, boom, we freaking broke it. And there wasn't anybody around to tell. We could have just texted like, hey, so yeah, we broke it. We just flipped it over.
Wrong with that seat on that canoe. We used it anyway. But yeah,
your canoe's a piece of shit.
we were going to use it, but
yeah, that's broken. I don't know.
Just so you know, I do all the art for the podcast. So now that I know about this art thing,
yeah, he's gonna find it.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
Find that painting. And then send it
I just
our
gotta
way.
get a picture of you guys going like this.
Going like this. I won't find it.
I was like just dumb because like it's one of those things. I was like, man, I'm so fucked. Like, because I'm over here thinking like, we haven't even like we finished the record. We don't have mixes or masters, and he's just gonna be like, "Sorry, dudes, like you don't get your record. We just spent all this time and money and all this stuff." And
Oh yeah.
I'm panicking because it's like it's not even just me. It's like all these dudes that are relying on me, and I just like I fuck this. Like, oh man, like so.
Man.
But,
I gotta ask a weird question because I saw a squirrel and I gotta ask: is that a UFO clock behind you?
It is.
And is it a cow that it's dragging it up? Is that what that is?
I actually don't know.
I can't really see it.
Oh, here we go.
Person that it's.
The UFO though.
What's
Man,
it pulling
I
up?
love the art behind you guys though. Like,
Yeah, that
You guys
Shaun of the Dead.
I'm assuming you guys are hockey fans, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I love that movie. That's a great movie.
So
Goon.
yeah, Goon is one of my favorite movies.
The second one was good too.
I think it's Canadian made too. Goon was made in Canada.
I can see that.
Yeah, probably.
And I love that. Oh, what's his name from?
Jason.
No, the guy from Sons of Anarchy.
Jax.
Tig.
Charlie
Tig.
on the
No, not Charlie.
Tig. No, Tig from Sons of Anarchy was the coach.
Yes, he was. Yeah, you're right. Good eye there. I don't forget his real name though. But
I don't know. His name.
Where is Edmonton to where you guys are at?
oh, so like that's 2 provinces over. That's Alberta. So we have Alberta. Wait a minute. Yeah, Manitoba and then Ontario. That's like. So where I told you guys where I went on tours like Calgary, Alberta. That's like a good day and a half drive away from us.
Okay. We have so I'm in the middle of the Midwest and we don't get much snow, so hockey is like not massive where we are from. But we have I think it's like an ECHL team or EHL or one of the feeder team feeder
Yeah.
team. But they're the feeder team for the Edmonton Oilers.
Oh,
So
cool. So I think that's AHL. I think the American Hockey League. I think.
Because
Yeah.
we have the OHL, which is kind of like
Kinda
kids
the
just
same
getting out of
thing.
high school, kind of in high school there. That age, and then AHL, and then NHL.
Yeah. Yeah, we're Ernie's a Toronto fan.
Thanks
Yeah.
for
that
telling
makes
the-
sense. No, it's ECHL.
Okay. Sorry, I apologize.
Don't make sense, but it just seems like our.
It was founded in '92 in the CHL, and now it's ECHL.
Oh, it is
Alright.
a CHL. Okay.
It started as CHL.
Yeah,
not ECHL. So
Interesting, man.
Nice.
Man,
Alright.
we're like an hour into this podcast, and I haven't even asked you guys about the album you guys just dropped. This has been awesome. I gotta say, this has been this is very rare. Like we usually have a pretty good hang with people, but this has been fun so far. Let's keep this going.
Yeah.
Making freezer jokes.
Yeah. Told them about like
Fucking up paintings.
I hope that the pastor's daughter didn't hear my story, and we just told about the cat.
She ain't listening.
No.
So, did you guys see that? Speaking of Peyton's get fucked up, did you see that one that tried to mess up the Mona Lisa?
Oh yeah, threw the cake at it.
It was a dude, eh? Did you know that?
I did
oh
see
yeah,
that.
I saw that.
That was wild.
Man, you know how much that painting's worth?
$5.
No,
$10,000.
6.
no, man. that's
10,000, that's
no.
it?
Look it up. Look it up.
Mona
It's like, and the dude threw a piece of cake. I hope they cleaned it up. I've never seen it. I've never been to Europe, so I've never seen it. But that's just
They're like,
crazy.
just leave the cake there.
It adds to it.
It's like a Banksy
motif,
now.
the
It's a
motif.
Banksy now.
The Banksy.
Yeah, maybe it was
So-
him.
I mean,
I-
it's like behind glass, so it didn't affect it, but at the same time, it's like,
I
oh,
mean, but
he was
listen,
he was
you're
trying
like-
to do
I'm just
something
you're just
like.
trying to ruin it for everybody.
Man, I don't think that was behind glass.
Yeah, it was.
Like,
I
was
thought
it?
Was
Yeah,
it not?
I heard it was, yeah.
Oh, okay. Who cares then? Just wipe that shit
Yeah,
off.
yeah, yeah.
The
She
guy's
Grab
probably,
that rose.
The
but
guy's
that was
probably
it.
like lunch. Fucking
Yeah.
Sweep it out his hand.
Stupid
I
ass
think
just gave
so
me something to eat.
The record is like we should be within this next month. Release the first single will come out. It hasn't come out yet.
No. So are you guys talking about? Sorry. What the album was called? Death. It's not
Dirty-
Deathbed Kings.
No, that was off the EP that we did that you were.
Okay.
listening to.
Okay. Yeah.
So we just finished recording a record in December called Dirty Candy.
Oh, cool.
Actually, since today I sent you guys what will be the first single off the record that's not out yet.
Oh, how'd you send it to us?
Instagram.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate that.
So
We were rocking out to that one.
but we did that. So we did Aaron Gillespie from Under Oath,
Yeah.
almost Paramore. He produced the record.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. He did the EP that we did also, which has that Deathbed King song on it. And it was the first time we got to interact with him, and we had a pretty limited amount of time to record that. That's when we did in Albuquerque where I messed up the painting. And then we've always just been like a riff heavy band, like an angry just go band. And Aaron, I think it was something that we like connected with, and he really dug the band, but he wanted to help build more of an identity. And the EP is something we're really proud of. But when he talked about it, he's like, I want to build something that's more like your identity. And he's like, I've heard this EP before. It's something that like, yeah, it's authentic because you guys write authentic like lyrics and parts, and it matters to you. But I've heard this thing before. He had called us back about 3-4 months after we did the EP and was like, hey, it was actually probably like 3 months or so. But he was like, I think we have a lot we left on the table, and we just didn't get enough time. And we were still figuring out, do we vibe? Do we like, is it a fit even? And, like, I think there's a bunch more that we could accomplish. Would you be down to do a full length? And so we scheduled it. So we basically recorded right at a year from the release of the EP. We recorded a full length. So
wow, man.
It was like really cool because we've become pretty like friends with him, which is interesting because he's one of the most like prolific drummers.
Yeah.
You know, they created a genre of music and just wanted to help us. And so we got to, this new record is something that we're like really proud of.
It's my favorite thing.
It fucks.
Yeah. Sorry, can you give me the title of it again? I just want to write it down properly.
Dirty Candy.
Dirty Candy, just simple.
Yeah, Dirty Candy.
Yeah, when it drops, we'll definitely promote it and like talk to you about guys. Because I think what we're gonna do, trying to think of when this one's gonna drop. Probably in like a couple weeks. I gotta think about it. I'll let you guys know when this is gonna drop. Maybe I can make this episode land around maybe the same time. I don't know. We'll see. We'll talk about it, but that's not a big deal.
We can do whatever you want.
No, it's whatever you want. This is your episode, so we just wanted to hang out with you guys. It's very rare for someone to message me to want to hang out on the podcast. Usually, I'm doing all the legwork, and so it's like once in a while. And then, but for me, it's always like kind of takes the pressure off because it's like you want to just come and chat. Like a lot of it is like us fanning out with people and like wanting to like contact them. But it was cool when you guys messaged me, and then I was just like, so we're connected right away. We're brothers, right? So as soon as I got a message, like, man, this guy just messaged me. Check out this band. And
that's what he said. He said somebody messaged me to come on the podcast. I didn't even care what you did. I'm like, fuck yeah.
And then we started listening to the music. I was just like, this rips. And then we both like, it's like. So
you could clean used freezers and I'd be down.
Yeah, just all I do is clean used freezers.
Get that death stench out of them.
That's not. Do you hate when your freezer smells like somebody just got chopped up by an axe? Call me.
Oh man, what's that cologne that like does it smell like Brute?
Sick of the freezer burn?
What is it? Smells like. What is it? Black Panther? What is it? Death Panther? Sex Panther. Sex Panther. That's what it
smells like straight gasoline.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the podcast was rad, and we've been reaching out to like people that we think do like. So for us, we play music and we want the record to do well, but really it's like building relationships and making new friends. And at the end of the day, like that's all you're gonna have when you're old anyway. Like who's gonna out whatever record you released, whatever. And so. Though it's something we put a lot of like heart into, these are the things that you remember, And so I was like, man, people that do cool things, like I want to align myself, it's like share what we're doing that's cool with someone else that we think is cool and then bond over that. So that was what we've been working on is just like making new friends and.
Yeah, we're friends now. So you're getting a whole bunch of freezer jokes.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you guys ever make it over the border, if you get rid of your DUIs, you lushes,
sneak past
past
the beavers.
Come on up and we'll host you and like you have some cold real beer up here that isn't like 3% or whatever you guys drink down there. So,
shots fired.
Shots fired. No, I'm kidding.
What are you talking about? They had that cool tornado that went through in Kansas.
What? That just happened. That one. Are you talking about the one?
Poor little Dorothy.
That happened like 10 minutes from here.
That was a few weeks
ago.
Yeah.
My girlfriend's parents live like right by where that happened, so they could see it.
Oh.
They were like, "We got to get the fuck out of here right
I
now."
wasn't talking about that. I'm sorry. I was talking about the Wizard of Oz.
Oh no, I thought you were not. There was like
I'm a fucking idiot. I wasn't actually talking. Oh my gosh.
You didn't
I
even
brought
know
it.
that.
Oh man, I'm like I dug deep. I'm like I was talking
He's
about
like,
a fucking
"Damn,
movie.
Kansas really has tornadoes." Shit.
Yeah. Fuck, that really happened. That was written after a real
Oh,
story.
I thought it was all over the news. I thought you were like, because that's like 140 houses got destroyed and like a YMCA and like
Yeah.
a whole
Shit.
part of the city. Also,
Man.
we live here, and that's where tornado. You don't have to feel bad for bringing it up. Like tornadoes fucking happen.
Do you guys get them a lot down there?
You're in the alley, right? You're in that like
It
I
happens a
don't-
little further, more into Oklahoma, more, but we get them a decent amount. It hasn't been so much the last couple of years though. But when I was growing up, they were quite often. They come out.
Do
I grew-
most farm
Let's go outside and watch the tornadoes. So,
do most farmhouses do they still have the doors that like go into the like the storage storm shelters and that out there?
most houses
They're-
have basements here.
Yeah. There's basements. There's also a couple of like little smaller towns around Wichita. One of my buddies, his grandma still has like a storm shelter and stuff, and it's the big old, door that you open up and
Goes underground.
yeah.
When they do the basements, do they design them just so that way in case there's a natural disaster or something? Like it's a kind of a like I'm wondering if new builds like in an area that it's predominantly sorry
tornadoes.
with tornadoes, if they would like design that in like new houses.
I don't know. I'm not a house doctor. So
Listen,
but,
there's a freezer you can jump in, I guess.
yeah,
I get oh.
yeah. I know. I don't know.
Stop this
That would be
blob out of the way.
I know there's like
I would assume that there's some thought that goes into that though when you're doing that.
I don't really know that there's a lot that I mean just being underground is enough. I don't know that there's like any like structural like thing that you've got to do to make it safe. Like I think it's
Like a
just
fall arrest harness attached to a pipe or something.
yeah, we got to like strap a belt to you and you got to like
Okay,
Yeah.
Twister.
Yeah.
All right. My fear is like so I was down in the States a couple years ago and you see a lot of trailers and I'm like driving around and was like, man, if a tornado comes through here, they're screwed. Like those trailers are just like boom, just gone. So you gotta imagine people would know what they're doing building a house. It wouldn't be just trailers. Like, my God. You know what I mean?
there are a lot of trailer parks around here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's trouble. Like you think you're saving money every 3 years.
I mean, it's trouble
Relocated.
more than like the tornado
I feel
is
like
though.
yeah, there's other problems going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
bunch of shit.
You're not worried about being relocated
Oh,
every 3
yeah.
months.
Now I want to go watch Twister.
It's a good movie, man.
I had that on at the so I'm a bartender
Oh, cool.
and whenever I get into work I always turn on the TVs and I always have my thing of what I do or whatever. The other day I turned it on and fucking Twister was on. So
Man.
it's like a day or so before that tornado happened. I'm like,
Man,
hell yeah,
when I was a kid, I thought Helen Hunt was a babe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that for some reason
If you're
that
a kid,
scene.
though, you think dumb, you think stupid things. I had a
Yeah,
teacher,
true.
dude, Helen
Mrs.
Hunt's
F,
a
that I
babe,
thought
dude.
was hot, and I know she wasn't. So
Yeah. your little your young brain thought she was a smoke show.
yeah, but
Yeah.
Mrs. F was not.
That was her name,
anything.
Mrs. Ep.
Mrs. F. Yeah, Mrs. F. If you're listening, I did think I was wrong. So
Yeah. Your standards have changed as you got older, or what? Oh,
You've been demoted.
oh,
Out of
man.
the podcast that we do, this is the one that she listens to too. Like
Yeah.
just happenstance.
yeah, maybe she'll reach out, my guy. Be like, hey, what the hell? What the hell?
This is all her doing. If she would have taught me better, I would have been able to like go and like get a real job.
God, you're such a piece of shit.
So like, besides, so you do bartending. Is like, is your full time job just the band?
No, I'm a freight broker.
Sorry.
I'm a freight broker.
Yeah, I don't know what is that.
Freight broker. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I deal like I've got customers all over the country that they need product shipped, and I'm like the middleman that finds semi drivers to move product for my customers.
Man, it's always so cool when we have people on and it's like their passion, they're like their hobby. It really just like you guys look like you're in a band. You guys like you maybe be a bartender. You look like it, but like you know what I mean?
He's
Yeah.
trying to say you look uneducated. I think that's what he's trying to say.
bartenders.
That you're
Literally.
that's
No.
fucked up.
No, bartenders in Canada are rad. That's like a thing. Like it's like a skill up here. Like you got to be a good bartender, you know?
Here I just kick people out and ban them when they're drunk before they even come in, you know, so I'm not cool.
Yeah, he's like a grumpy dad.
Yeah.
So,
That's all right.
yeah, the band has been like, I think music has just been my passion. Like, cause it's like therapy for me. It's like one of the only times I can just like get it out that I can,
Yep.
you know, so it's one of the most like authentic pieces of me. And then, with all the music that gets like written or lyrics that get written, at least for when I'm like a part of it, it's like I want to like, so life sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's like okay to be angry about it, but it's always like we talked about this on another like something else, but it's like it's what you do with it. I always have the choice to take things how I like, however way I want to.
Yeah.
And so I can't control other people, but I can, or you know, you can't always control the situations, but I can control how I like view it and then how I respond moving forward. And so like there's a a lot of like things that the records and even the older music touches on, whether it's like death or just like just like some of the struggles that come with life. And it is like a really angry record. Even the new record's really angry, but there's always a like a it sounds uplifting, sounds really stupid. It sounds like we're talking about the church songs again, but like there's this, it's just always like how you are going to take it and what are you going to do with it. And then there's always a way to take it to better yourself.
Yep.
So
yeah, I get that.
So the music is like the passion that's there. And so I think I will probably always play music and always do, because I would probably lose my brain. If not, I would, it's healthy getting it out.
Yeah, man, that's so cool to hear. And what you guys said, like you said, you guys are pretty stoked for this new album that's gonna drop. Yeah, obviously, I'm stoked for it to come out and hear it. And man,
it was really cool because we. So Aaron, I mean, obviously, is like been around for a while and has done a lot of really awesome things. And when he called us, they had just recorded that new Under Oath record, Voyeurist. I don't know if you listened to it yet. It's awesome. Yeah. It's like might be the best Under Oath record they've ever done. And but he called and he was like, I know we talked about doing a record, but I don't want to go to a regular studio. Like I kind of want to track the record myself and just write with you guys and just like make it really personal. And Josh's bar, the guy who owns the bar was like, you can use the space above the bar if you want. And it was like an unfinished loft, like no power, no HVAC at the time when we booked it, like no insulation. There was like framing, but no sheetrock up. And we were like, let's see if we can figure it out. And we had to bring a bunch of our own stuff up there. They put power up like the week we got there. But Aaron was like, I'll get an Airbnb or crash on your couch for 2 weeks. And like, let's just hang out for 2 weeks.
Man.
And so instead of doing like going to a fancy studio and having like that really like traditional Orthodox experience, we went completely the other direction and got to have, I mean, we might be the only people that's gotten that experience with Aaron outside of like his own musicians that he like his own band.
Yeah.
And so we wrote and recorded that record over like 10, 12 days or something, 10 days. I think it took us a little bit less, but we had scheduled like 2 weeks with him. But we got to just like, hang out in this weird unfinished. I don't know if you've seen it. We have some videos.
You showed me a couple photos. You sent me a couple photos. Yeah.
There's like duct work hanging from the ceiling and stuff. It looks like
rad.
It was crazy. There wasn't there was like plumbing but no toilet, so we were like pissing in a hole in the floor, like because there was like it was supposed to be somebody's apartment. They hadn't finished it, so there's like a tub but no sink and no toilet and no like. There was I think there was like one or two lights in the ceiling. Like
we had to bring lamps in and all that stuff.
Yeah, so it was kind of a wild experience, but so we got to do that, and then do you guys remember POD?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I don't know how it was like a weird chain of events, but their singer, we got on his radar, and over the last like year, he started sharing stuff off that EP you guys had listened to. And then invited us to a weekend event he was doing in Arkansas, and we went and hung out. And he was like, I like what you're doing. I want you to tell Aaron to save a spot for me on the record, and I'll be on the record.
No way.
He's one of the songs we'll do as a single. He's on, and it was crazy because he did it like gratis. He was like, "I'll just do it for you. I want to be supportive," and so he just like took time out of his own, like went to a studio in San Diego, tracked it for us.
Yeah, he tracked it, sent it, and then we listened to it, and we're like, perfect.
Yeah,
no,
it's-
we don't.
Wow.
Whoa.
Like it's cool because like it was something that like there's like some websites you can like pay to get a feature from someone you've never met, and like stuff that always seems really cheesy to me because again it's about the relationships, and so if somebody who does something cool cares about what you're doing and you guys can work together, and so yeah, there's like I never would have thought like 15-year-old me is. I mean I'm stoked now, but like you think 15 years ago or whatever, I would have thought that I was getting to do a song with Sonny from POD, and so. So there's like some really cool things in the record that I never thought would happen, but it's just like I think it's cool.
That is cool, man. Oh my god. Like
So-
that's gotta feel good for yourself too, knowing like those two guys like look at what you're doing and are part of it, and like
And we're
have
cool.
like their stamp of approval. Like that's
Yeah.
gotta feel amazing.
Well, and especially not being like we're nobody. You know, I mean, like I think that we do is really authentic and cool, but like every band thinks they're cool. You know, like that's par for the course. And so for them, like sometimes it's like there's not like I don't see that they're getting something out of it other than just believing in it and wanting to be a part of it. If that makes sense. Like because it's not like they're not gaining any fame out of it. It's not like we're a massive act that they're getting people that put eyes on them because of it. You know, and so it's definitely for sure was not a money thing.
Yeah.
Pretty sure that I joke around with Aaron that he probably lost money coming out here and staying for the amount of time that he did.
But it's probably like you say too. Like he's so passionate about it that like he just loves it for the sake of doing it, right?
Man.
So and then it's hard because you never want to pry, but we all got really close, and then I remember joking around about like, maybe if we get to do this again, and one day he was finally like, dude, why do you keep saying maybe? Like I'm gonna do the next record, and so he's supposedly we're gonna do another record with him.
Jeez.
And so it's just cool because like it's just something clicked and was really authentic about it, So
Yeah, really fucking cool.
Are you guys planning to obviously tour that album like in your area, or like what's the plan for that? Do you guys have any plans for that?
that's the goal. So
Yeah, we're still waiting on a bunch of stuff, whether it's edits for videos or what have you. We're still waiting on a bunch of stuff to get back to us before we can start booking all that.
we're doing some like regional short runs. Like I know we're playing in doing some routing to like Cincinnati and back. But the pandemic has made everything a little weird, and then fuel prices right now is it's
Oh my god, yeah.
And so it's like trying to figure out the best way to get it out. Do we like drag ass a little bit? We've been like we've had a few offers for some smaller things, and then some potentially bigger things that we're kind of waiting on. One of which would include doing, hopefully, fingers crossed, doing some stuff with the person we were talking about a little bit ago that's on the record.
Yeah.
He's talked a couple different times about like wanting to help out, and so right now it's like just regional stuff as we're trying to like, figure out how to get that record out. I think we just booked, like we're playing like Static X in Arkansas next month, and just doing as much regional stuff as we can. So
That's awesome.
Man, that's awesome. I'm just trying to remember. There was this, I think there's a can't remember what it's called. There's a place in Kentucky. It's called like Irate Fest or something.
yeah.
There's gonna be like a, I forget what it's like I don't know. Are you guys familiar with that? It's like gonna be like a festival or something. So we had the episode hasn't dropped yet, but we've had like one of the band members from this band called Earthcaller. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, from Australia, and it's their first time coming to the U.S.
Oh, cool.
And they're going to be coming to Kentucky and playing that
It looks like a cool fest.
that festival. How close is that guy to you? How close is that to you guys?
Kentucky is probably like 12 hours.
Oh shit!
Oh,
That's
so
wild.
right next door.
So
Yeah.
hips jump.
Okay.
I hear about stuff like that, and I'm always like, man, I wonder if like everybody just like meets up and just hangs out, or is it just like, but yeah,
Being in the Midwest is tough. Like everything is so far away.
yeah.
I mean, we've been trying to get to where we can do some more festivals. Like we're playing one in it's called Audio Feed. It's up close to Chicago area, I think. It's like just south of there. It's actually in a couple weeks that we're going to be playing, and so it's been like festival booking has been the goal lately. Is like because you can get to the most people from the most areas, and so like figure out the routing. And it was hard after the pandemic because there's so many tours on pause. So we had booked a bunch of small stuff that got canceled because of the pandemic. We were probably 60, 70 shows or something, and that we were working on. And so then it was like C markets were the only things available. So it's like playing house shows and real news. And so we just decided to focus on getting more content together, more music, working on that EP, and then now a record. Most bands don't do an EP and in less than a year do a full length after that.
Yeah.
So we just
a bit of a break.
Take that as an opportunity to focus on the things that we believe will be more weight for us rather than just leaving and going and spending money on being gone. So
yeah, man, that's exciting. I'm happy for you guys. This is cool.
That's awesome.
I'm stoked for the everything to drop and hear everything. But so how can people kind of get a hold of your stuff? How can people like check out your things? Is it you guys have a web page? You guys have just Instagram? Like what do you guys got going on?
Yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook,
everything that every band
Twitter,
is.
TikTok, Spotify, Apple Music.
Oh, you guys are on TikTok. Okay, good. When I post something, I'll tag you guys in it just so I know it's
It's still pretty new. I think we only have a couple videos up on it.
We have a link tree that's just Revisionist. And that's got everything. It's got links to like videos and some of the press, and Metal Injection premiered that Half Moon video off the EP, and so there's like links to all that stuff in there. So
man, you guys got lots of exciting stuff going on.
Yeah, thank you. I'm excited. It's fun. It's like it's cool to see that all the planting seeds and watering is starting to grow. So
yeah.
Man, well, thanks for your time. Thanks for hanging out with us. If you guys ever up in this way, up to Toronto, let us know. We'd love to hang out. Go grab a beer. Grab some wings.
Oh yeah.
This is
check out some freezers.
Hockey.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll bring a beaver. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
I got to experience some real hockey.
Yeah.
So.
You
guys got hockey down there.
Don't go to Toronto to watch hockey. You're gonna spend $600 a ticket.
Yeah, that is true.
Expensive as shit.
We'll go to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Better go to Buffalo. Well, man, thank you guys for your time.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, guys.
Have a good weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, man.
So, do you guys go through and like edit like podcasts down or like what do you?
No.
Do you want us to edit things out?
What do you want me?
I just didn't know. Some of the ones we've been doing have been like trying to cut out all the little stuff and
No.
So
So we have it running top notch through all Ernie's equipment over here, and
I do I DJ, so I have a DJ mixer here that I edit all your levels, so you guys are like I adjust for like highs and lows and stuff like that. So
but
unless there's something you want cut out.
We're not like we're not PG-13 or anything.
No.
So
I was gonna say before you get, I don't know if it's like a podcast is over and then now we're just bullshitting, but
no.
Pause it right
Okay,
now.
hang on. We'll stop it now. Right.
There you go.
Now it's done.
Okay.
I was gonna see if you wanted to hear that, if you guys have the ability to listen to that song.
Yeah, hang on.
Because we couldn't play it over the air or whatever, but I wanted to see it through, and
I can play it right here.
it's like quite a bit different.
You got it? You got it there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hang on.
Because if you were into the others, this is a song we co-wrote with Aaron, so.
I'll just jump on the SoundCloud app just a sec.
Yeah, SoundCloud's lame. It's like a private like playlist that we've got of the record while we're trying to figure out the dates and stuff.
I was just putting it here for everything. Oh shit. Oh shit. Man, you can play the shit out of those drums.
You're gonna play the shit out of those drums, Dale. Man. Man, this is a great song. Fuck yeah. Woo! Man,
Oof.
that is just
It's
beautiful.
stuff that's on Spotify right now.
Man, that's a beautiful song.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
That's really good.
Wow.
Aaron helped write
Good.
that song, so of course, I mean that makes sense.
Woo!
Have credit, but I was just you talked about listening to the music, and so that's like where we're at with the new record, the vibe of it. So
That's
Man.
awesome, man. That's awesome.
No wonder they're all over that. Holy shit. That's like there's so many dynamics and there's so many atmospheres of that song. It's not just like a regular song. Like he said like, oh, I've heard this album before. Like I haven't heard anything like that before. And that was just so insane but awesome. Like and wow, there's so many dynamics of that song. Beautiful. That was awesome.
that means a lot.
Can I show this to a couple of my buddies? Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like Aaron really talked about like moments. Like that was his big thing. He's like, anybody can just hit the gas pedal and go. And he's like, I just want you to focus on creating a moment. Every song should have a moment that like catches everyone. And so we approached writing vastly different than we ever had in the past because he was like, if it doesn't have a moment, like nobody's gonna care. Like other musicians might be like, oh, it's a cool party, you're going crazy, you're playing all these notes, he's like, but like you just need to get to everything needs to be a build to a certain moment in the song, and then that needs to be the thing that you like is the part that everybody remembers. And so it's like a different focus on how to create music. So
That was awesome. That was awesome.
Anyway,
Wow.
thank you.
That was really good.
That was wow. Guys.
I'm
So
glad
cool.
you like it.
You're
Thank
way
you.
too nice, but
No. I'm picky about the music I listen to as shit. Like there'll be stuff like I'll be like, nah, fuck this. But that like
Because it all starts to sound the same at some point, right?
What?
I say because music starts to like if you start getting into like certain styles of music, it's like okay, yeah, heard this one, same style, same everything, and like that's something I haven't heard before, and 100% I could listen
he's
to. Like,
pickier
a couple
than me.
times. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, if
Yeah.
he's saying that, wow.
But that was
What?
Aaron's whole thing. He was like, I've heard this other record, this other EP, and he's like, it's not bad. It's just like, it's kind of the thing that if you're not a hardcore kid or a metal kid, you kind of do this other like thing, and that's what you did, you know. And so he was just like, I don't want to do that. I want to do you. I want to figure out what you are. Let's go hole ourselves up in an abandoned loft and figure out what you are. And so that's the start of what we came out with. So
That's the kind of music you can watch someone play that music, like watch you guys play that. You're probably just smiling fucking ear to ear, just killing it.
it's something we are passionate about. So it comes across as like it matters rather than just something to play like we're doing what everybody else is doing. So
Yeah.
but cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate the time. Thank you for taking time to listen
Thank
to it.
you again
So-
for having us, guys.
Dude, we're gonna do this again.
Hell yeah.
You're on the
Yeah.
Rolodex now, man. You're
Super
stuck.
fun.
Well, let us know. We'll stay in touch. We'll figure it out. So
Yeah, I'll let you know. So
For sure.
I'm on the Instagram. So when I'm gonna drop everything, I'll show you guys the art we'll use before we drop it, and we'll let everything know. And like we do a bunch of like lead up stuff. You're on the Instagram, so you know what it looks like. I just like promote stuff all for like a week and a half, and then it comes out and all that stuff. So
We'll play like your music over us rummaging through the freezer or something.
Cool. So,
Yeah.
and if you take any, if you need like content, like like music, or if you want to play like a clip of a song or something, you can too. Or if that's you want to play like a clip of the new song, you can.
Yep.
We don't
And
want to play the song, so
And if there's any art you guys want us to
Yes, and
use,
art,
like
please.
photos of everybody, and like we can just
Yeah.
like we can rummage pretty good on like Instagrams and stuff. But if there's anything specific you want used for like the art for the podcast, just send me a couple of photos and we can add it on. And
cool. I've got a bunch
Like-
of high res images too. If
yeah,
please,
yeah.
please.
Send those out.
compress ones off of Instagram. You're using it on Instagram, so I'm sure it's fine. But
Yeah.
what you want to use it for? So cool.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well,
All right, guys.
meet you guys.
You take it
Awesome.
easy.
All right, thanks.
Have a
Yeah,
good
thanks for hanging out.
Have a good night, guys.
Later.
See ya.
See ya.